Hey guys, I'm Randy Younger, and this is another episode of Under the Radar, where we talk all things film and sometimes TV. And I have with me a wonderful panel of guest critics, as always. This is actually first. I should mention our second part of the Brendan Fraser filmography celebration, the Renaissance, and we had a wonderful time the last time talking about literally everything he did in the 1990s. And we're going to get into the 2000s up until today in just a moment. But first, I want to welcome some of my guest critics who were on part one. Some of you guys made it. Others did not. We don't have them here with us tonight, but they're in our hearts, and I'm sure they're watching as well. We've got Erica A. Welcome back, Erica.
Hi, Randy. I'm glad to be back. Part two in the house.
Yes, yes. Here we are. And we have the wonderful power couple of Rachel Kolb and Eric Godfrey. Hey, guys.
Hello.
And Mr. Dobby is tuckered. He's all tuckered out tonight.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, guys, I know it's been a couple weeks since part one, but some crazy stuff has happened since then. We've actually had a couple of celebrity passings recently, and I just want to acknowledge two very notable performers. First off, the Dame Angela Lansbury, who passed, famous for a stage, screen, small screen and large. And I just want to go around and talk about her impact on the industry. I remember her, of course, from Murder, She Wrote, among many other things. But as a kid, I remember seeing her in the opening credits for that show, among other things. But Rachel, your thoughts on Dame Lansbury?
I mean, she was just an incredible actress. She had such range. She was able to play just these absolute villainous characters in films like The Manchurian Candidate and stage productions. Like, she originated the role of Mrs. Lovett in Sweeney Todd. She had she was beautiful, but she also could play very ugly, and she also had an interesting range as far as the sorts of ages that she could play, that even when she was very young, that she could still play much older and audiences would buy into it. I mean, of course, growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, I grew up with her, hearing her voice as Mrs. Potts. I grew up with her as, of course, the lead of the wonderfully underrated Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. One of my favorite.
I was waiting for you to bring. I was like, I have to bring that one up. I love Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, but I'm glad you did.
Okay, I will let you talk a little bit more about it, Erica. But Bed Knobs and Broomsticks is just wonderful. If people have not seen it, it's truly hidden gem Disney movie. Just really, really good stuff.
Awesome. Eric, how about you? Were you affected by the Dame?
I mean, I think it's impossible to have a career as robust as she had and not be familiar with her, whether it is through a TV work. Like, I'm very similar, where a lot of my earlier memories of her was just Murder, She Wrote, and of course the voice work is such as Miss Potts. But it's the thing of it's I don't think I could really name anything that hasn't already gone around, but like, it's just like that is what the idea, like, that's just a monster of work she has. Just you like, as far as an actress goes, there's few people I think that could have as much of an impact on the field as she did.
Nice. And lastly, Erica, your thoughts and feelings.
I was devastated when I saw on the news that she had died. Like, everything Rachel brought up from Murder, She Wrote, I grew up on her on Murder, She Wrote, and then she was Mrs. Potts, and it was a tale as old as time, and it will never be the same now without her.
You're right. Yeah.
And of course, like I said, my favorite is Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, which, with Halloween almost coming up, maybe it is a fitting movie for everyone to watch. It's sort of a movie about magic and about children's imagination, and she's trying to be a witch, but it doesn't work. But then the bed knob, I know, what exactly is a bed knob? Like the thing that's screwed on when there's a whole frame to the bed.
So,
Not when the frame is just underneath the bed and it suddenly flies away. It's a great movie.
okay.
And Nazis.
Yes, I was gonna
Yeah.
say she's specifically learning magic so she can help in the war effort to fight the
I
Nazis.
wasn't sure if that's a spoiler, so I was like, wait, I'm not gonna
Spoiler,
say what she plans
Nazis.
to do and who she's fighting.
You know what? I'm guilty of never seeing that film, but now it's definitely on my radar for sure.
You know, I was
Yeah,
in the
it's
same thing
never-
until I was with Rachel. I had never heard of it, and apparently it is just this underrated gem.
Hmm. It's
Cool.
another one of those movies or stories about how children have to go elsewhere because the war has started, like the same premise as Lord of the Flies or
Hmm.
the Narnia series, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It's another one of those
Okay.
premises.
Okay, that's painting a picture in my brain right now. So that's
Yeah.
pretty good. Sounds like a decent film. So
Sad to
Okay.
see her go, and I've seen her
Yeah.
also on the stage.
right,
I've
right.
seen her once when I was younger, and then one time, I guess almost over a decade ago, I realized how long it's been.
Hmm.
But I was like, oh, she's so old. Look, she's on the stage. She may never be able to again, but she lived till what, 92?
Yeah.
90.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she was just, I think, a few days short of her birthday.
I thought she was like
Right,
96.
But yeah, so
She
I
was
saw
she
her-
was
She was born in
Oh.
1925. Yeah,
Okay.
she was 96 years old. Yep.
yeah.
96. Okay.
And like I said, just incredible life and career.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Ye-
so I saw her once when she was on, she did a play Deuces, which was sort of a two-person show where they stayed on one set. And I
Okay.
wasn't sure if that was good because she was so old and she wouldn't be able to move around much, but they were two retired tennis players.
Hmm.
And they just sort of where they, like on these old seats, like the way Shea Stadium was built, the hard metal seats that fold down, that looked as uncomfortable as anything. And it just looked
Right.
really realistic with the game happening in front of them while they talked.
Did she have that magnetic presence in person as she does on film and
Yes.
TV? Nice. Right. Well, she will be remembered, that's for sure.
Mhm.
So, and we had another passing of the great Robbie Coltrane of Hagrid fame from the Harry Potter franchise, as well as a bunch of the Bond films. And he was also quite a presence from what every performance I've seen. He was perfect as Hagrid. I never read the books, but I'm assuming that's what J.K. Rowling had in mind. So yeah, visually fantastic, and he had some heart and warmth to him. I remember that, and being like a true friend to Harry. So it was he was a great actor in that respect.
I believe wasn't when they were casting for Harry Potter,
Hmm.
wasn't she like they were like, oh, who for Hagrid? And she said Robbie Coltrane. Like I don't even think there was.
I think he was one that was
Yeah.
very serious, like that from the start was like kind of in their minds.
Like I think for Rowling had him like from the get go.
Oh, really? Nice.
And yeah, he's one of the very few people to have, even though it was only in 2 Bond movies, like he
Right.
had a recurring character as a Russian. The name escapes me. He was a Russian mob boss.
Yes,
He
he
was
was.
He was
Valentin.
in GoldenEye. Yeah, he was
Yes,
in GoldenEye. And he
Valentin
came back
Dmitri-
for World Is Not Enough.
But
Valentin
yeah, he's during the
Demetria.
Pierce Brosnan eras, though, a lot of the characters return because the CIA
Right.
agent also gets to do 2 Bond movies.
Yep.
The character's name was Valentin Dmitriev Zukovsky.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was in GoldenEye and The World Is Not Enough, which is one of the worst Bond films, but
yeah.
I'm sure he was the best thing about it.
Oh, but it's only awful most of the time. She gives such a great delivery of the title.
Okay.
The rest of it's pathetic.
Yeah, no, that might be the worst Bond film in
No,
my
no.
Die Another Day.
There are plenty of worse ones. Moonraker is worse.
I love
Whoa.
Seriously? The ridiculous
That's one of my favorites.
We will not have Moonraker on a worst of list.
Fine. I have worse
Now,
ones than Moonraker.
I will say
I
one-
was just listing a few, but I'm like, Moonraker is up there. Once he goes into space and Jaws
Oh, it's so
is
much
back,
fun, though.
and it's like they're
Moon-
floating in slow mo. I'm like, okay,
No,
Moonraker
Fail.
crosses the so bad it's good threshold.
Which one is the one that had Halle Berry?
Die Another Day.
Die Another
Okay,
Day.
yeah, that one's my least favorite. I
That's
do not
pretty
like that
terrible.
one.
I
That
would
was my
say
least
Die Another Day is
Pierce
worse than that, but
Brosnan, but
You
I-
know.
we could do an entire ranking of all
Yeah,
could,
and there's,
and I think we
there's of
have,
course also
actually.
the yellow face one. So
But Robbie,
Quantum of Solace is worse too.
yeah, but Coltrane, yeah, he had quite a filmography,
Mhm.
and part of two of
And also quite the depth from his characters. You never see any similarity from one to the other.
Yeah.
He was also in an it looks like a British TV series called Cracker from 1993 to 2006, and he was actually awarded the best actor by the British Academy Television. British Academy of Television, and they awarded him that in the 90s. So that's called Cracker. That actually looks pretty good. I would check that out. Yeah, and just he's done some Shakespeare too, no surprise. He's got that presence. So yeah, it's a shock, not just to the Harry Potter community, but or the James Bond community, but to entertainment as a whole. He another talent that will be missed. So having said that, though, let's talk about an actor who is still alive and who is probably giving some of his best work right now, even though I haven't seen The Whale. It's coming up in December. I know we're all excited to see it, and I just wanted to continue talking about the Renaissance, really. I think we ended last episode at Dudley Do Right in 1999, which is terrible. And
I think we were sort of debating how awful it was.
yeah, it's pretty bad. So there was that closed out the 90s, which was a pretty great decade for Brendan, and some of, in my opinion, his most memorable works. But I know, Eric, you may disagree, because we're coming up in a couple years for Scrubs, and some of probably his most memorable TV work. So, but we'll get to that in a couple minutes. And all right, so I just want to go quickly throughout the filmography here. Okay, the year is 2000, and we've got a voice role in Sinbad, Beyond the Veil of Mist, which I did not catch. I don't know if you guys did.
The lesser known
I'm not that
Sinbad
familiar with it.
movie.
Yeah.
When I think the Sinbad movie of the end of the 90s, I think of the one with Brad Pitt.
That was 2003. I
2000.
believe.
Oh, I was thinking 2000.
No, that was
Oh,
2000.
later.
Yeah, I think this was a different one because
So this one
I think
comes first.
that
I
one
thought
was
it
like something
the
like
same year.
I think the one you're talking is like it was like Sinbad Legend of the something or whatever. I think is
Yeah,
the
but
one
I
with
was
Brad
like
Pitt.
the
Oh yeah,
lesser known
Legend of the
Sinbad.
Seven
Yeah.
Seas, I think, or something like that.
Yeah,
I remember it because it has a fantastic score by Harry Gregson Williams, student of Hans Zimmer. So yeah, I would check that score out if you guys are curious. All right, so next up, this is probably one of his better films, Bedazzled. I love this one. It's ridiculous, and Fraser plays a few different versions of his character of Elliot, because in each wish he basically is a different version of Elliot, and it's actually pretty hilarious, and he shows some good range here.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of great memes that come from it. It's hard for me because I love the original Bedazzled. Like I remember we watched it not too long ago, and the original one still is just so funny.
What year is that
And
from?
Is that Peter Sellers?
no, what was it like?
No.
The original one was I think like in the 60s, I think.
Okay.
Right.
I was like 50s or 60s. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, 60s, I think.
1967 with Dudley Moore. Yeah, because Dudley Moore played the devil. I believe. Or wait,
Wait a minute.
no, Dudley Moore played Stanley. It was Peter Cook who played George Spigot, aka the devil.
Raquel Welch is in it too.
Yeah, because Raquel Welch was the va-va voom moment, and I just always loved the Julie Andrews, and then whenever he would do the wish. But as far as an American remake goes, I think that the new Bedazzled was like, I think it really showed, like you were talking about the range about all the different kind of characters that Brendan could fulfill. And I know as far as like the memes of Brendan Fraser come, a lot of them come from Bedazzled.
Nice. Also, he had really good chemistry with Elizabeth Hurley. A lot of fun there. So yeah, that's a fun movie.
I mean, it's
No, what were you saying, Erica?
Okay, yeah, no, I was gonna say how it's just crazy, all the different costume and makeup and design and setting that also goes into it to create all the different worlds, and it feels so believable as you watch it. It's just a movie that's so out there. It's not as high on my list of Brendan Fraser movies, but it's something everyone should see once.
I agree. And also, I should mention that the late great Harold Ramis directed it. And
That's right.
yeah,
And
there's
that
another.
I was at this. That also is why I give it credit, because I was
Mhm.
like, it's just
Mhm.
he probably was so brilliant, giving all the highs and lows and really directing which way he wanted to go with it.
Yeah.
A lot of his stuff is underrated, if anything.
Well, I mean, so Groundhog Day also kind of dealt
Yes.
with it like a supernatural fantasy element, but he didn't really play it up in that. In Bedazzled, he definitely emphasizes that like fantasy element, which is a lot of fun, but he doesn't like overdo it. You know, it's still kind of based in reality at the same time, but it's still kind of goofy and fun. So yeah, I think Bedazzled might be top 10 favorite Brendan performances, in my opinion. It's on there. All right, guys. So we still have a bunch to go through. Dickie Roberts, former child star.
Oh God, yeah.
He's got
you skipped Mummy Returns, an actually good
Oh,
sequel.
I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. I'm sorry. Rewind. All right. Yeah. After Bedazzled, we get a very silly movie as well, Monkey Bone.
Yeah. Monkey Bone. That movie happened.
Yeah, it did. And I honestly, I saw it for the first time just a couple weeks ago, and it's directed by the guy who did The Nightmare Before Christmas, not Tim Burton, but Henry Selick. And this movie's out there, and yeah, I mean,
I remember I saw the previews for it when I was younger, and I'm just like,
yeah.
huh?
I didn't love it though. I'm sure if I saw it as a kid, I might have appreciated it more.
No, I'm unfamiliar with it. I saw her when I was looking at all the works he's done, and I'm like, Monkey Bones. I don't know that movie.
Oh yeah,
the concept is interesting.
Oh yeah, and I remember
the
because
idea
the
behind it.
big thing about it was the sock puppet the sock puppet monkey, the stop motion that they used, or CG that they used to bring it to life.
Nice.
But I think it was one of those ones where it's more of a what a great concept. Maybe we should make it a new movie.
Yeah, it kind of had like a Little Nicky vibe to it, which was
yeah.
All right, so after that, he followed up by returning as Rick O'Connell in The Mummy Returns.
An actually good sequel.
It's better than the original, in my opinion.
It's close. I mean,
prefer
CG rock aside.
Yeah, oh, that was cringeworthy. They just they threw so much into this sequel. It was just, in my opinion, kind of obnoxious.
Okay.
I think the first one was like a straightforward, fun adventure.
Well, I thought the first one, like most originals, have to spend too much time on the actual building the world and making us believe and suspend disbelief. And this one was able to just go to town and go wild.
They hit you over the head with it, and it's just too much for me. In my opinion.
You're right, though. It is a movie that hits the ground running. Like it's like, and Mummy's back, we're off.
Well, it's like we've skipped a few years, but don't worry, you don't need those years. We're still at it. Let's go.
But it still has it probably out of the whole Mummy franchise.
Run, home, mummies, shoot. And it's like
crazy pygmies that are trying to headhunters that are chasing you in the jungle.
Well, I will give it this. It did have a great score by Alan Silvestri. Very heroic. He took over from Jerry Goldsmith from the first movie.
And
The
Rock's first film role.
The Rock, well, CG.
The Rock made his film debut.
True.
Franchise after The Rock even left.
I don't know. Did you guys even see the Scorpion King, the prequel?
Yeah.
I did.
Was it terrible?
No. It was a movie.
It exists.
It's weird because it's like I try not to, in this one, it's like the Scorpion King was a villain. He conquered all this stuff. And the first movie's like, the Scorpion King wasn't that bad, guys. Come on, The Rock.
No, it's more, I agree with what you're saying, but it's more like the Scorpion King. He's on an adventure. Let's follow him.
Yeah,
pity him, like him, hate him. And then, of course, you have his sidekick, which is the guy who has had some of the craziest roles in the early two, from like True Lies and Isn't that
I know
him?
the actor you're talking about. I just his name escapes me.
And Congo.
Oh, yeah, he played he was he saved the day pretty much in True Lies. He killed all those
Yes.
terrorists. He
Yeah,
had the gun in the
yeah,
camcorder.
he snuck in
Yes.
as the cameraman.
He's actually
Where he's the
an
guy
Oscar-winning
in the
producer
van,
too.
and then it's like he finally shoots someone, and he's like an expert shot and just kills him dead right there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no,
suddenly she doesn't realize it. She still runs up, and like every movie, it's like, don't run up.
I found it.
unless Arnold Schwarzenegger is flying a Harrier.
Yes, Grant Heslov.
Jump, Daddy
Grant
will
Heslov.
catch you.
Daddy will got you. Yes.
But yeah, I enjoy Scorpion. Like I said, bad CG rock at the end side. Scorpion King or the Mummy Returns is a great, and it has my favorite moment between Rick O'Connell and the Magi, who name escapes me, when they're basically
Dead Fur.
yeah, when they're arming themselves, and he's like, he opens up the trunk and he's got all the weapons there. He's like, which one? He's like, I want the machine gun. It's like, okay.
Yeah. I'll
No,
take
I
the
prefer the part where he pulls his wrist thing off, and he's like, "You're 3 pieces of the puzzle," and he's like, "What?
Mm.
Okay, how does it end?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"Only the story is told, not only the journey, but not
the
the ending."
destination.
Right.
Yes.
But no, Mummy Returns is solid. It was a great. I thought it was a really good sequel.
I'll give it the evolution of special effects was really good there. It was definitely an improvement from the predecessor. So yeah, it's a fun movie, but I think it was a little too much. But
Okay, well, no, the 4 or 5 sequels to the Scorpion King are a little too much.
I'll give you that one. Yeah.
Because I mean,
Especially because The Rock
I've
was
sat
only
through a
on
few
one.
of them, and I can't tell one from the other. I think 3 or 4 isn't terrible, but I can't tell you which one.
All right, guys. And after The Mummy Returns, he actually did a very interesting drama called The Quiet American. I don't know if you guys saw that one.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's good.
Yeah, I've
Where
heard of
was
that
it?
one too.
It takes place in Vietnam in the, I think, 1950s. And basically, it stars Michael Caine and Brendan Fraser as 2 men who are in love with the same Vietnamese woman. And it's a very interesting drama, very tense in moments, because where they're at in Vietnam at the time is a little volatile. So yeah, it's basically Michael Caine and Brendan Fraser kind of bouncing off each other. And
But I can't see
recommend it.
them with the age gap going after the same woman.
Right, because Caine is like in his 60s. At the time, Fraser was about maybe in his early 30s. And the woman that they're both in love with apparently is like in her late 20s. So, but it works somewhat.
Wasn't that called Miss Saigon?
No,
No, I'm
No.
thinking of something else.
Alternate title. But yeah, that's The Quiet American. I would recommend that. It's from 2002. After that, he did Dickie Roberts' former child star.
A movie that happened.
Okay, we're not even going there.
Yeah.
yeah, he's
That movie-
uncredited in an egg.
that movie-
He
I know,
doesn't
but-
claim it either.
Um,
Some of those
Dickie
uncredited
Roberts
ones are the
happens.
craziest of roles, but yeah, the
yeah.
whole movie was crazy.
I
think
didn't
the
see it.
funniest part though is the random cameos.
Yeah, that's David Spade, right? Is the main? He's the lead. I
Yeah.
gotta check that out. It looks ridiculous.
It's been on Epic in its rotation. I know. I'm the only person in the world who watches Epic.
Is it a Happy Madison production? Do you know?
I know.
think
I
it
don't
is.
know if it.
Oh, all right. Because I've been rewatching a bunch of Adam Sandler films lately, just for
It does have an Adam Sandler like feel though. So it
right.
could be.
Well, he's worked with David Spade since SNL, so.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we've got Looney Tunes back in action.
Your
Oh,
least
the movie?
favorite.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I rewatched it a couple weeks ago too, and yeah, it's as bad as I remember it.
Is he bad in the movie, or is the movie just bad overall?
Overall,
it's-
it's pretty awful.
yeah.
He's good in it. He actually makes a really good muscular hero in this one,
Yeah.
which kind of has a kind of a Rick O'Connell flair to him.
But the movie just fails in so many ways. It is not
So-
Space Jam.
It's so disappointing too, because it's
This is Space Jam 2.
it is Space Jam
Oh,
2, basically.
yes, it is.
But it's the first movie since Small Soldiers that Joe Dante has directed, and it's just so bad because he's such a great director. I love all his 80s and 90s stuff. and I was really excited for this one. But final score by Jerry Goldsmith, actually, final release score in a film.
But the effects at least look right. You know, the Looney Tunes.
It had that Roger
him.
Rabbit Space Jam feel to it, but I think the story was just so bad that nothing else really mattered.
True.
You're just focusing on how bad this movie is, and
But
nothing
the
else.
effort was there. It just failed in story and concept.
And Jenna Elfman was kind of annoying, in my opinion. I didn't think she was funny or appealing, and yeah, it was, this movie just went in so many bad directions. It's just it's sad. You would think like maybe close to 20 years later it would develop like maybe a cult following, but I don't think it has or will.
No.
It shouldn't.
Yeah. All right, moving on, guys. Eric, we have
That's the alphabet.
we got Scrubs. So basically Brendan was in, I think, 3 episodes here as Ben Sullivan.
Yep, he was in the very first season. He had a 2-part role as Ben Sullivan, who was Dr. Cox's best friend. And very memorable 2-part episode where Brendan just stole the show. And I know it's one of the few times he's ever done TV like that. And actually it was funny, they had him on the Zach Braff and Donald Faison have a podcast where they go with Scrubs, and they actually did have Fraser on to discuss his time on the show. And he said that apparently the reason why he did that was because the showrunner Bill Lawrence had knew that he was like done with his films, and he was like, was friends with his wife, and had mentioned like Brendan's like, oh, I need to get back in the gym because I'm getting out of shape. And Bill Lawrence had sent a copy of the script with a pair of gym shorts, and Fraser was like, well, if a guy gives me gym shorts, I have to star in the show.
I love it. I love the sense of humor.
But yeah, and then he returned again for the 3rd season in an episode that will make that anybody who watches always ends up just crying their eyes out to, because it is an extraordinarily depressing episode.
And Eric, no spoil. I don't have to say it, but I'll say it again. No spoilers for that.
Of course.
Because I haven't seen all the episodes of Scrubs, and I'm sure there's a couple people watching that probably haven't either. But yeah, I saw some clips on YouTube of that, and yeah, it's hilarious and heartbreaking at the same time. His character was just he was perfect with John C. McGinley. The chemistry.
It's the thing that,
and he also has really good chemistry with the character who plays John C. McGinley's ex-wife. Because the thing is that not only is he John C. McGinley's best friend, he's also the brother to his ex-wife. Okay. And so there's a whole joke that it's like that she's like the fact that she's like, you're always hanging out with him. And he's like, well, you know, when you guys got divorced, I had to pick. And she's like, I'm your sister.
He's like, yeah, well, that made it a little tougher. But no, it's Scrubs was always a show that did a remarkable job of always, whenever they had on really memorable guest stars, how well that they blended with the cast. And I think with Fraser, the fact that he was on 3 times really shows you how effortlessly he fit into that world. And the fact that they were able to give him 3 really incredible episodes, and his 3rd episode, again, no spoilers, is one of the best episodes of Scrubs. Just that I can definitely see why he was able to come back for it.
Yeah, definitely gotta check that out. Eric, are you a Scrubs fan?
Actually, no. So that's why I haven't chimed in. When you were like, there are people who haven't seen it, I'm like, yeah, that's me. But I was like, I'm not gonna jump in.
Yeah, I'll just warn. His first episodes have some depressing moments, but definitely need the Kleenex for his season 3 appearance.
Gotcha. All right, moving on from that, he returned again to play Rick O'Connell in 2004 for the Revenge of the Mummy ride.
Yes.
So,
in his iconic
in the greatest like through story of a roller coaster ever. Like just excellent world building that was done on the part of the folks at Universal.
I mean, how many people have
very meta too, right?
Yeah. How many people have people show up in costume based on the thing you filmed for a ride? The fact that
Jack
people
Sparrow?
Oh, I mean, the fact that Pirates is already a thing before this, but the fact that like people show up as the coffee mug that
Oh,
he's
Yeah.
looking for, the coffee
Because-
he's looking for,
Yeah. So
because it's so iconic.
So
I know.
basically the premise of the ride is that you're visiting the set of the Mummy,
Mhm.
and that there is an ongoing curse on the set, and that the crew members are told they have to wear amulets around their necks. And Fraser, among others, is like, no, that's stupid. I'm not going to wear that. And because he's not wearing the amulet, the craft services table keeps refusing to give him any food or any coffee. So
right.
he keeps sending an intern to go get him coffee. And because the intern has no problem with wearing the amulet. And one of the most famous lines for the ride is, thanks, hope you had a great time. I would have had a better time if I'd gotten my cup of coffee.
And then there were
And
all
so-
the cosplayers who did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Funny. You know what?
I mean, yeah.
I should have mentioned earlier, but last weekend I was at New York Comic Con, of course, and I do have a photo with a female Rick O'Connell cosplayer, which was amazing, and I just was in awe. That was probably my favorite.
No, I was
photo.
thinking a lot of people play the person bringing the coffee whenever he's at a con.
That's who he was there too. Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, I heard he was
Okay.
at New York. Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't get a chance to meet him, but I'm sure I'm hoping I get to meet him at some point, because he does seem like a really down to earth guy, very cool. Especially within the past few months, especially after that standing ovation clip and
Mhm.
tearing up. I basically want to see everything he's ever done. So yeah, including the short video from the Mummy ride.
Yeah. I think at least some of it is on YouTube, if not the entire.
I believe it. The
Video.
pre-roll there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw part
Yeah.
of it. Yeah, that's cool.
Would it be
Okay.
the kind of thing that YouTube keeps trying to block and take down when they catch it, or
I don't think I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know if Warner how tenacious they are about
Universal.
copyright on that.
Mhm.
I don't
Okay.
know.
Under the Radar is brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a 2 to match your attitude. Patent pending, interchange genuine gemstone and crystal EMF protection jewelry. For more information, please visit magnitudejewelry.com/gemgirl or call 718-268-6634.
Also in 2004, he did the Oscar-winning film Crash. I believe he had a supporting role in that.
Named Rick. I'm guessing the last name was
he has-
O'Connell.
Yeah, it is a very, very, very small role in it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I remember being
yeah,
very
like-
small.
yeah, it's an ensemble movie, and he has a very, very small role in it.
But
Sad.
everyone in the movie brings a little something to it. It's a memorable movie overall, even if he blends in.
Yeah, that's true. And then he returned to television again with 2 episodes of King of the Hill. He did a film called Journey to the End of Night. The last time he did a movie called Big Bugman, which I don't think was released. He was the voice in
Not familiar with
that.
that one.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh wait, I think it did get released.
Did it?
I feel like now I'm dawning on me. Wait, it's an animated one. It came and was one of the ones that blended in with ants and A Bug's Life and.
I think it was a TV movie from 2006.
Yes, it was animated. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm curious about that one. Also, The Air I Breathe, which sounds very familiar. I'm thinking of
no,
that. I'm thinking of that Kevin Bacon basketball movie. What's similar title?
Well, Kevin Bacon is in this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Oh, the air up there. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yep,
Very
yep.
similar. That's weird. All right. So okay, he's in that. Let's see here. Oh, Journey to the Center of the Earth. Great book, by the way. I remember reading that in junior high school.
Movie's not quite the not quite the same.
I think the
as
True.
sequel ended up actually getting more attention, mainly because of the memes involving The Rock.
Yeah.
Right. That was
I remember I saw a joke today
Journey
about
2.
all the movies that The Rock continued where Brendan Fraser left off.
Funny.
I
That's
know that
weird.
was like one of the discouraging. I'm like, wait, he can't even have a cameo, and they're making a sequel. Wait, did they replace the child, or is that the same guy who's just a little?
I think that it was a whole new. I think it's a whole new cast.
Yeah, I think it
sequels.
is. I
I
think it
think in
is.
this in the
Because it's
first one-
Hutcherson in the sequel.
Yeah,
Right.
Josh Hutcherson.
And I was like,
Oh
wait,
no, he is in both.
He is in both. Okay.
Yep.
'cause
Mhm.
I
Is it the
thought
same-
it was the same kid.
Is
when
it
I
the
looked
same
it up.
character
I'm like,
name?
Yeah,
Sean Anderson.
Same character. Oh.
that's why I was like, it's the same character name that I was able to tell, and I'm like, okay, did they replace the child? But no, I believe it is the same one. But no, the first one isn't all it's cracked up to be, but it is
No.
worth watching.
When you know what? I think this was the last major film role that Brendan had
No,
before his little turbulence, his quote unquote blacklisting.
yeah, but
Mhm.
no, I believe there's one more movie.
Well, he did the third.
Oh no, yeah,
Mummy
you're right. I'm
movie,
sorry. The Mummy, the Mummy 3, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. That
Which,
is probably his last major film role
yeah,
before
which
the
man, that one did not work as well as it should have.
That one
no.
was just
Well, because
weird.
they replaced Rachel Weisz, which was just like if you
Yeah,
think
they
back,
didn't quite
why?
replace her.
Just-
She read the script that didn't return.
Yeah, the only thing that for me
Someone
worked as
involved.
far as the preview goes was having Jet Li step in as basically the Chinese general, the Mummy.
No, Emperor.
It's like that could have been cool, but no, the third movie's terrible.
I know.
Yeah.
And Michelle Yao gets a few good fight scenes though.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess
just the Emperor, yeah, what was it, the
The
Tomb of the
fight-
Dragon
I guess the
Emperor.
fight choreography is like the only good redeeming quality here, but overall, like I compare this to Looney Tunes Back in Action. It's just an overall garbage fire of a movie.
The, the,
But it was a
yeah.
forced
The original Mummy is great. Mummy Returns is still, while I kind of see what you mean, it's still at least it's a lot. It's still so much fun. It's
Yeah.
still really watchable. But the third one,
It's so unnecessary, and
Yeah.
the recasting of Weiss was a big mistake.
just was the final nail in
Yeah.
the coffin. That
I mean, I love Maria Bello. I love her in
Yeah.
History of Violence, but she
it's
and
just
kind
her
of
stepping
and
in.
pretending to be British too, like her accent. Just a lot of things went wrong with this one.
Yeah, it was a movie that you could just tell was not supposed to be made.
yeah.
it was a movie about just everyone being convinced to come back and just bank on the title.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the O'Connell son looks just a
Looks
few
ridiculous.
years younger than Brendan Fraser. He doesn't look like, how old was Brendan when okay, I don't want to get into it. It doesn't
Crazy,
work.
I think you skipped a few things though. We
It's-
jumped ahead.
What?
I don't know. You have the list.
No, this was
No,
after
I'm
Journey to the Center of
following
the
along.
Earth, Mummy 3. They had the video game, which he did the voice in that.
Okay.
And then he was in another video game, Adventure at the Center of the Earth.
All right. No, video game. Okay, so but yeah, the dragon ridiculous movie. I felt like we were jumping years ahead. I'm like, wait, how did we get all
No.
the way to the Mummy 3?
No, I'm at right now. I'm at
No, as far as I
2000.
can see, yeah, that was the jump.
Yeah.
And then you did yeah.
No, we're good. We're on track.
Mhm.
All right. So oh, then he did a weird little movie called Inkheart, which I've been
Oh,
meaning to
Inkheart.
watch. I saw that a few weeks ago as well for the first time ever, and it's basically
Hit and miss.
Jumanji meets Indiana Jones, I guess.
No. It's far more like a sci-fi kind of fantasy movie where books come to life. It's sort of
Yeah.
an Alice in Wonderland trip.
Yeah, I was expecting a lot more, to be honest with you. Maybe it's
I
one of
don't
those.
hate the movie though.
Okay.
I like the creepy old woman who I can't figure out what her family resembles.
Oh, you
or
mean,
maybe it tells us, but I haven't seen the movie since.
You mean
it
Helen
came out.
Mirren? Helen Mirren, Dame.
Yeah,
Helen?
because
She's a dame, I think.
yes, she is. But I love her character best.
Right. Yeah, she had a good storyline, but
Yeah, she had with all her creepy books that she keeps
actually,
in glass, and then the characters come to life. And the guy who plays the villain, who's from the book, who has the words on his face.
right, Paul Bettany, right?
Yes.
Sounds about right.
He was the best thing about this, and Jim Broadbent actually had a great supporting role in this too. Who?
Okay, maybe that's who I'm thinking. I don't know. I'm not good with people's names, but he's really recognizable.
Jim Broadbent is the author of the book where the character
Okay.
played by Paul Bettany leaps off the page and goes on this adventure with Brendan Fraser's character. It was okay. It had a pretty good premise, but I didn't love it. I think with repeat viewings, I think it'll grow on me. But
no, I think it loses something the more times you watch it.
Rachel and Eric, what did you think of Inkheart?
Never saw it.
I never saw it either. I
Really?
remember
Okay.
seeing the
Rachel,
poster.
you would probably like it.
I think you
Like
would.
the premise definitely sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so pretty much the premise is that he has the power to, when he reads something out loud, that the characters come to life.
Right.
But when a character comes out of the book, someone gets sucked in. So it's not quite like the animated movie where Macaulay
Page
Culkin.
Master.
Yes, thank you. It's
Nice.
not quite that, but
Mm.
it's very strange. And so suddenly you have Captain Hook arriving, you have
Yeah.
other people randomly arriving in the real world.
You know
Okay,
what,
now
that-
I get the Jumanji reference.
It kind of sounds a little bit like the last act of Last Action Hero, where all
Yes.
the movie
Mhm.
villains come out off the screen. Anyway, side note, sorry.
No, that's I see that one a lot more. Now I just realized where you're getting the Jumanji thought, and I was like, I don't get it. But now I realize where the animals are literally running out and jumping out of the game board. Okay.
Right.
But yeah, and every character that comes, and then there's this whole family dynamic with the older woman
Right.
who's somehow related to Brendan Fraser and the daughter.
Right.
And some characters can't talk when they get sucked into the book. It's this whole big thing, and it just is a little too long as a movie.
And I think it works well as a nice family adventure. So yeah, that part of that aspect of it is endearing. So that's
Okay,
good.
so check out Inkheart, but it's not a 3-time watch kind of movie.
Right. All right. So that was in 2008. Now we're in 2009, and he did 3 episodes of The Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh, playing one of the most original. No one's a Fairly Odd Parent character fan. Okay.
Sorry.
I really know that if I watched it, I would get into it. I think I just don't know where to watch it.
Oh, it was a Nickelodeon show. I don't know where it is now, because now Nick never shows any
Probably
of their
Paramount.
shows.
It's probably on Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus
Okay.
has a lot of the Nickelodeon stuff.
So it's a Nickelodeon show from the 2000s. It had like such a long run till they jumped the shark when they added another child, because they had a shortage of fairies to be their godparents.
I
And
think
it
I
goes-
remember hearing about that.
It
That
goes
it
off
was
the
the addition of the
rails, but
character.
the early episodes are brilliant, and they have some of the craziest cameos that you wouldn't believe. I mean, Brendan Fraser's is not number one. I would say that Adam West is the best random character that
Aw.
makes no sense. He plays his character Catman, who is an actor, but also is a superhero, and it's a combination of him as Adam West and him as Batman, but it's called Catman. And
Fair
he
enough.
appears randomly a lot, but
You
Brendan
know-
Fraser plays a character. I didn't realize he returns. That's introduced in one of the TV movies, which is that supposedly everyone in the universe wants to find Timmy Turner because he's supposed to save the world, but he's like a deformed child, like this big, and it's like, how does he fight every single random person? And suddenly they go, ta-da, here's another person with the correct initials who looks right to save the world. And that's Brendan Fraser's character. He's
All right
What's his
then. Thank
name?
you. Turbo Thunder.
Turbo Thunder.
Turbo. Okay, he even like I said, he even has the right name.
Nice. All right. Moving on. Still in 2009.
Okay, no Fairly Odd Parent fans. Okay, recommend
Sorry.
series
No,
from
I
earlier.
just want to get through
10
this
years.
filmography because we still
Okay.
have like about a decade left to go here. He did G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra, uncredited.
Okay.
He did a movie
Another
with,
movie that The Rock would take over.
oh
Yes,
God.
exactly.
That's weird that happened.
Yeah,
That's-
apparently Rock was just sitting there like, what's Brendan up to?
Well, at least The Rock wasn't invited into the prequel.
Yeah.
All right, and then he did a movie. Brendan did a movie in 2010 with Harrison Ford called Extraordinary Measures. It's like a medical
Brilliant
drama,
movie.
and I think that might have been his last major role. That was in 2010.
Yeah, well, 2010 was also the year of Furry Vengeance, which a lot of people credit as the like nail in the coffin,
Yeah.
at least for that era of
Mhm.
Brendan Fraser.
that
When
was
the
it.
popularity really
That was
died
the
off.
year. That was where he revealed that he was molested during a meeting with the Hollywood Foreign Press Association president.
Yes.
Who,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that was during the filming of Looney Tunes Back in Action, actually.
I believe that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because from the timeline I was looking at, I believe that sounds right. And they
Yeah.
blacklisted him or something for it.
He just wasn't getting
Essentially, yeah.
roles anymore. He wasn't getting like those like big blockbuster heroic roles that he was.
Exactly. Like you really see, even looking at the filmography, where he was just kind of doing like voice work and just kind of like this one-off little
Yeah.
ensemble thing here.
Yeah.
But like the big comedy / action hero days of Brendan Fraser were gone.
Well,
Yeah.
and he also had the difficulty that I think that was around the time that also he was going through a very messy divorce,
Mm.
And multiple
and
surgeries.
that compounded with the fact that
Mhm.
even when he told what happened with the Hollywood Foreign Press president, that people just they didn't take it seriously.
Mhm.
And I can't even imagine how difficult that would be for him to go through that and to tell what happened and to have literally some people say, well, it was just a joke.
Yeah.
Or like, oh yeah, he just, grabbed him. He just, did that as a joke. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
it's not okay. Like,
It's not, but you know what? It's weird because Brendan, he's a pretty strapping guy. He's built, you think he can defend himself or
well,
you
Yeah,
know,
but-
oftentimes in those moments, you don't really know what to do. It's
Mhm.
just, it's just sometimes you're so shocked you
Mm.
can't, like, it's almost like you're like paralyzed in that moment.
Yeah.
Well, now, about a decade later, he is getting the respect he deserves for
Mhm.
revealing this horrible
Yeah.
thing. So, and-
Justice came slow, but it came for him finally.
Yeah.
Not in the way that anyone unfortunately was punished for what happened to him, but
Yeah.
at least he's finally getting the recognition, the respect, and
Interestingly, the fact that the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, that a lot of people have just completely written it off and
Mhm.
said, we're done with it. Like, we're boycotting the Golden Globes, like
Yep.
that, it's kind of a little bit of comeuppance.
yeah.
And you'll probably get an Oscar nomination out of this. So
Mhm.
we'll see. The Whale comes out in December, so very excited. All right, so I'm just gonna try to get through these as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Furry Vengeance, Standoff, Escape from Planet Earth, A Case of You, Hairbrain, Pawn Shop Chronicles, Breakout, Give Me Shelter, The Nut Jobs voice role.
That one I remember.
And then he, in 2015, I heard good things about his work in this miniseries called Texas Rising. So
Don't know that one.
yeah, he is in a few episodes there. He also is in a show where he played himself called Nightcap. He was in a show called Trust, which I also heard was good.
Oh, that one's pretty good.
That was
It's
good?
a little weird. He has
Yeah.
a strange accent.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
and also the Showtime critically acclaimed show, The Affair. He also was in 6 episodes of that.
Right. Oh, I missed that. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, The Affair, which I heard good things as well.
He only was in a few
Nightcap.
episodes of that. And how many episodes till he actually spoke in it, though?
He was in 6 episodes of The Affair.
Which was a Showtime show, but that had like 6 seasons, I believe.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But that was in 2016-17.
Okay.
Then he did Nightcap, Trust, Condor, another series, and then
Condor was a great show.
oh yeah, okay. And
Yeah.
Eric, another show you're a fan of, he did right after that in 2018 called Titans. So that
Mhm.
Oh
decent.
yes, the crossover episode.
Yeah, because he was setting up Doom Patrol.
Exactly. But not all the
Um,
cast was fully hired at that point.
then he did a movie in 2019 called The Poison Rose, which I think he had a supporting role as a doctor. He did a movie called Line of Descent. 2020 he did The Secret of Karma. And then in 2021 he sort of had a bit of a resurgence in his career. I think this is where I was like, where's he been in this
Yeah.
movie?
No, I had told you only a few years ago when
No.
Contact came out. I was
I'm-
like, Brendan Fraser's back.
Film-wise,
Okay.
No Sudden Move.
Yes.
Excellent movie,
Yeah.
excellent role.
I think we reviewed that when it came
Mhm.
out. This was
Mhm.
2021 during the pandemic, and I remember seeing him in it, and he had put on some weight. I almost didn't recognize him, but if you look closely, yeah, you can definitely tell it's him. And that movie I didn't love. I didn't think it was that great. It was kind of a by the
Oh,
numbers.
I'm a big fan of No Sudden Move.
Steven Soderbergh. It didn't capture that magic that I was hoping to get from a Soderbergh film. But yeah, it had decent performances. I think Don Cheadle is
Oh,
in
Cheadle, yeah, it was fantastic, and Benicio.
Mhm.
Benicio. Yeah, it just didn't grab me, but maybe some repeat viewings are in order. So that was in 2021. And then around this time, he was also involved with Doom Patrol as Cliff Steele / Robot Man.
Mhm.
And I believe he's just the voice as Robot
Yeah,
Man. Correct?
I believe.
But he does
that's
there are
something-
flashbacks to when he's human, so he
Right.
does do those as well.
Yes,
Nice.
which are very weird because they're trying to make him look young, but we know
Right.
what he looked like when he was young. So
All right, and then after that, he did The Whale, and he's got
Wait, isn't
he's
there
got a
another
couple of other
series?
things in post-production, stuff that's been completed, stuff that's been announced. I'm just gonna read off a TV series he's involved with called Professionals. He's got a
Mhm.
film that's completed called Brothers. He has Killers of the Flower Moon, which
Yep.
is that
New
that's a
Scorsese.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
new Scorsese.
So that's exciting. And I know that he gave some an interview recently where he said he was very excited to be part of a cast of De Niro, and
Yeah,
just the fact to be in a Martin Scorsese film is
Mhm.
that's
and if it
really,
wasn't for all the nonsense with the Time Warner Discovery crossover, we'd be watching him as Firefly and the Batgirl movie.
I know.
I was about to
exactly,
get
the
to that.
Batgirl movie was-
Yeah, so he's got Batgirl. It says it's announced. Before that, he's in post-production with a movie called Behind the Curtain of Night. But yeah,
I'm hoping Batgirl sees the light of day. So
yeah.
I mean, I know he recently
Hmm.
talked about how disappointed he was because I
Also,
know
I
there's
think
actually
yeah.
there's a lot of behind the scenes. Like I think there's the one of him they gave him his birthday cake while he was on the set,
Aw.
and so I know he's talked about how much he really wants people to see Batgirl.
Yeah. So is it completed or is it?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's completed.
It is
It's
completed.
completed.
But they've
Yeah.
decided to shelve it indefinitely.
It's so strange. Yeah, and he plays one of the lesser known villains, Firefly, who I loved in the new Batman Adventures. So I'm very curious to see what he does with that role.
Yeah.
Basically, he's a pyrotechnic guy who
Mhm.
goes a little crazy and goes after Batman with like a flamethrower.
He's a pyromaniac.
Yeah, he's got wings and he shoots fire. It's a
But
good
they
visual. right there.
decided just to never show it at all. But they
Yeah,
might
and
pull
what's
it out
even-
in a few years. So
What's
I
even
mean-
worse is we could see how good the directing talent is behind it because when they got done doing Batgirl, they were also responsible for the recent Miss Marvel series on Disney Plus, which I mean that series was just absolutely like had so much flair. I'd love to see what they could do with a movie like Batgirl.
I think Miss Marvel is maybe top 5 favorite Disney Plus Marvel series right now.
Mhm.
It's probably behind Hawkeye and Loki in my like those top 3. Those 3 are my favorites. But as far as Batgirl is concerned, I'm pretty sure we'll see it in the future. I hope the
Yes.
directors will
Or hope.
release it. I guess their cut of it. We had the Snyder cut of Justice League, so
Yeah, if Snyder can get his, we deserve the Batgirl.
Thank you. That could not have been said better, sir.
But I mean, his new series also does seem promising. So even though he's back on the big screen, I like seeing him on the small screen too.
Yeah.
He hasn't, because I saw it premiered on the CW, but I believe it's syndicated now with the guy from Smallville, Tom something, and I'm like, oh, another
Welling?
DC person he's working with.
You mean Tom Welling?
I think that's that Professionals.
Okay,
Nice.
which looks promising.
But yeah, I'm excited for Batgirl. If and when we ever see it, we shall see. And
No,
so, yeah.
we're going to see it. Keep positive.
Yeah.
5 years down the line, someone will finally be willing to release it.
Yes.
Sure.
And you know what, guys? So we got through 77 film and TV credits for Mr. Fraser. So I think we did a good job.
Yay, go us.
It only took 2 episodes, but we did it. And maybe in the future, Brendan will join us for a commentary. You know, you never know.
Join us for a commentary of Looney Tunes back in
Oh,
action.
God.
No,
That would be ridiculous.
no,
that
Mummy
would-
1, 2, and 3.
Oh, no, the third one should be erased from memory. Just do the Men in Black thing and just wipe it off our memories. All right, guys, so we have like a minute left, and which I'm kind of glad, because I just wanted to go around real quick. We've got, you know, Halloween coming up in a couple of weeks, and you know, I like I mentioned, I was just at New York Comic Con, and there were a ton of costumes, cosplayers, every direction you look. It was amazing. I went as of course, helping out the New York City Ghostbusters. I was dressed up and had my full gear, but with this, you know, awesome holiday coming up, I just want to talk about some you know, horror movies, some non-horror movies that you guys are watching these couple weeks, and or some, you know, just spooky or quirky movies that are on your radar right now. So Erica, I'll start with you.
Halloween, I think I used to look forward to like the Casper stuff back, but I don't feel like they play it as much anymore. Like the Casper movie that went to theaters, and Casper Meets Wendy, which might have been like the first time we ever meet Hilary Duff. And then there was another Casper movie with like a bunch of the Saban characters, like a few Power Rangers and the big bad Beetleborg person.
That's weird.
There were just a whole bunch of Casper movies that I remember when I was younger.
Huh. I did enjoy the 1995 live action CGI movie with Christina Ricci, Bill Pullman, and a great score by James Horner, by the way. But that was a fun movie. Devin,
I thought of what I've been watching. The newest reboot of The Worst Witch arrived on television.
The Worst
I still
Witch.
prefer the 90s one and the 80s TV movie, but it has some redeeming qualities.
Okay. That's cool. Yeah, The Worst Witch. Yeah, I think that wasn't it a TV movie in the 80s? Didn't they?
Yes,
didn't
with
Disney, yeah,
Tim
yeah.
Curry. And then they made a series because 2 more books had been made. There's like one every 10 years she writes one.
Yeah, they came up with a mini series. Actually, no, a TV series in 2017.
Right. So that's
Okay.
what I've been watching.
Okay, very good, very good.
With the girl from Game of Thrones.
Nice. Rachel and Eric, what are you guys watching spooky wise? Halloween?
So on my list to watch is Midnight Club. Is that the name of it?
Okay.
Yes,
Yep,
Midnight Club.
New Mike Flanagan
Mike-
on Netflix.
Yep. And also on my annual rewatch, I recently went to go see the stage production of Little Shop of Horrors, which is running off Broadway right now in New York City. It's wonderful, and it made me want to revisit the movie again. And I know that they have officially released the movie with the original stage ending, where, spoiler alert, the plant wins and takes over the world.
Have you-
So
Oh,
Which movie do you prefer? The original black and white one or the singing one from the 90s?
oh, the singing one. Like it's
Okay.
I mean the original one in black and white, like it's charming and it's like funny because I mean it's got the distinction of having been filmed in what, like just a few days on like a
Yeah.
set that was left over from another movie.
nice.
I mean it's just kind of fun for that reason, and also for Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, that was like that's
make
like
an
one of his
appearance.
first roles.
Yeah, one of his
Yes.
first, yeah, early 60s, I think, right?
Sounds about right.
Mhm.
Or late,
Yep.
yeah, early 60s. It's awesome.
And I would also like to rewatch Poltergeist. Now, being such a fan of Poltergeist as I am, I came to that one much later, but I am very glad that I now know it and love it.
Oh my God, that was such a perfect Spielberg film. Even though he didn't direct it, he was a producer. Toby Hooper directed it, who was the director of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
So he came to the world of the paranormal with Spielberg, who was basically at the helm. He was basically a co-director. They were like working on it together, and another great score by Jerry Goldsmith, but I won't go down that route. But yeah, Poltergeist is amazing. I like Poltergeist 2 as well. And I don't know if I've ever seen the third one, which it didn't seem that.
I have definitely not.
Yeah, it takes place in, I think, an apartment building. And Tom Skerritt's in it, and I think the little girl Carol Ann is in it too, if I'm not mistaken. And crazy stuff happens. But yeah, Eric, what about you, sir?
Well, I'm hoping this year is finally the year where I get Rachel to watch John Carpenter's The Thing, which is the best movie. So
I've seen little clips of it, and I don't know. It looks a bit scary.
there are a few movies I cherish as much as that. The Thing is so good.
It
and
is
those monster effects are just some of the like Stan Winston and his creature shop. They've never looked like. Yeah, I just thinking about all of that.
And Rob Bottin, who also contributed to the effects, is amazing. And yeah,
they're just some of the most creative and terrifying creatures.
I would say the most disgusting. Do not eat during this movie, because it's slimy, it's bloody, it's awful. It's just really, and
worse
it's
than
just
trying
brilliant.
to eat.
What?
I was going to ask, is it worse than trying to eat during the anime Attack on Titan?
Attack on Titan. I don't know.
Okay,
but
that's about ripping people's bodies apart and eating them. And I went to eat during it.
The Thing is off. It's
yeah.
great.
But what I also love is that beyond just those amazing creatures, how tense the movie is with that setting of paranoia of not knowing who you can trust.
Right.
And just it sets that scene so well. And Keith David and Kurt Russell just
yeah.
It's one of my favorite horror movies.
Yeah, it's a remake of a 50s Alien movie, which I have not seen actually.
Yeah, it's the original one's okay, but I mean Carpenter just came in, and yeah, and it's and Mike Flanagan to me right now has been one of the most interesting horror movie creators in a long time. And the one movie of his I've been wanting to revisit again was Dr. Sleep.
Oh.
Because I was like, I was a little late to it, and I remember just watching and being like, this is great, and I really want to rewatch it again.
I mean, the bar is really, really high. It's
and the fact that he could come in and make the sequel to The Shining, granted, based off the work that King had already done. But I just remember watching Dr. Sleep and just being like, wow, like this is a solid follow-up to The Shining.
Right.
Like this works so well.
Nice. I'll have to read the book, because I don't remember being wowed by the movie. So I don't know.
Well, I've heard that the book and the movie are very, very, very different.
Yeah. So it's
well, considering especially like the entire finale had to be changed because in the book the hotel was destroyed, whereas Flanagan kept it like it was in the original and goes back to the hotel.
Nice. Oh, that sounds good. That's a good movie right there. To return to the hotel. I love it.
Well, and that's the last section of Dr. Sleep, and it's the perfect payoff of nostalgia.
Awesome. All right, so as for me, I actually just saw Halloween Ends, which was not very good. Actually, the new trilogy that started up in 2018 started very strong, in my opinion, but then Halloween Kills came along, and that just did not impress me either. But then I saw this just a couple nights ago, Halloween Ends, and it just, I don't know, it just left a sour taste in my mouth. And I have been, as of today, I've been trying to revisit all the Halloween movies. in relative order. There's like 3 different timelines that they're on.
Yeah,
It's very
I saw the
Oh, there
poster
are
breakdown.
so many sites
Yeah.
on the correct way to put the
Mhm.
timeline in order, because there are so
Yeah,
many different-
it's odd.
Because I saw somebody
Are
have a
you are
poster.
you
of
also watching the non-Michael Myers Halloween movie, Season of the Witch?
I love season. I actually I saw that at the Nighthawk Cinema a couple months ago, so it's sort of still fresh in my mind. So I'm
Mhm.
focusing mostly on the Michael Myers movies. I love what they did with Season of the Witch, though. That was a fun one, and it did feel very John Carpenter.
Right.
1982, I think it came out. So
Well,
that was
because yeah, as far as I'm aware, that was what Halloween was supposed to be.
Mhm.
Was that every Halloween they'd release a new one, and it
Right.
would be a new horror movie instead of Mike Myers.
Right.
It was supposed to be all these different like horror movies every year,
Right.
just with the Halloween name. But the problem was, of course, Mike Myers just became too popular of a villain.
Every time you say Mike Myers, I'm picturing Austin Powers.
Groovy baby.
Not Wayne.
A little different. But I'm kind of, I don't know. I mean, I would have liked to have seen more of an anthology, kind of different
Mhm.
chapters, kind of like
Yeah, kind of what the original plan was.
yeah, like they sort of did that. They did that later on with like Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Dark
Right.
Side, Goosebumps.
Like even American Horror Story went that route.
Yeah, and also Are You Afraid of the Dark? So
Yeah.
that was a very popular thing in like the late 80s into the 90s.
Mhm.
But yeah, Season of the Witch, it's a fun one. It's weird, but it kind of fits in there somehow. Alternate the Halloween movie. But yeah, that's what I've been doing today, and I'm gonna be doing that for the next week or so.
Are you going to be revisiting H2O?
Yeah, probably. I like it. It's the return of Jamie Lee Curtis after 20
Mhm.
years, so you
Sure,
kind of
yeah.
have to. But I'm gonna warn you guys, if you go in with with Halloween Ends, it's just not very good.
Fair enough.
They tried to be innovative with it, and I kind of respect them for that, but overall it didn't feel right.
Fair enough.
But and also a slight preview for you guys. I am hoping to do a commentary of the first Halloween, 1978. So yeah, if you guys want to come on for that, you're more than welcome. That'll probably be in the next week or so, and yeah, we'll keep you guys in the loop regarding that. But real quick, I know we're way out of time, but I just want to go around real quick. Any plugs? Erica, what's going on with you?
No, the other project. So
Oh, gotcha. That thing. All righty. Miss Kolb.
So you can find me over at the Law of Donut Engineering, also known as the Lodge in Jersey City Heights on the weekends, making the donuts. During the week, you can find me over at Satinia and the Ritz-Carlton in Midtown Manhattan, working on the pastry team there. So lots of good tasty treats. And you can find me on Instagram at Second Act Bake Shop. And you can find Dobby on Instagram at Dobby the House Dog.
And he's passed out.
Oh, perfect. And Eric, anything going on?
Nothing interesting for me now.
All right.
I'll point to everything she just said.
Perfect. Okay, and as for me, if you want to see previous episodes of Under the Radar, just tune into the YouTube channel Under the Radar with a G, and there's all the previous episodes, interviews, red carpet footage, and commentaries there, so check those out. So guys, Erica, Rachel, Eric, and Dobby, I want to thank you for your time tonight. This is another great episode. And yeah, everyone watching at home, I want to thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. I'm Randy Younger. This has been Under the Radar. Next time. Bye.